Hey guys, one of the first trainings here is going to be on mindset. Mindset is one of the most important things to starting any business, and you might be wondering, why am I talking about mindset when really, this whole thing is about, paid advertising and affiliate marketing. Well, I've had over 10,000 students at this point, and one of the biggest, I see the trends. If you want me to be your teacher, you want to go through this course, I see the trends, and I see the trends of who becomes successful and who fails. Most people fail not because the tactics or the strategies are wrong. Most people fail because their approach to things is wrong. So let me write this up. So I'm going to go over a few things that are going to help you out to get into the right mindset of an entrepreneur, because everything in our society, the big secret that's been happening is that the media and the education system are training people to essentially be slaves to the system. They're training people to think that their time is their worth to the world, and they don't teach you the ways to actually be an entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur is all about leveraging your time to get into that next tier. Society doesn't want that. Society wants people to become little worker bees. And this is the key secret. This is a secret. This is not talked about, but it is almost like, I don't know if it's a conscious or an unconscious agenda on the part of the people who control the world. But what's great is the internet has totally disrupted everything that's going on, and you can break out of this mindset, this worker mindset, industrial worker, whatever mindset, and you can become an entrepreneur. But it takes a slightly different approach than what we're trained by the media to do and what we're trained by the education system to do. Generally speaking, the third area of influence is families. There's media, education, and families. And this is why a lot of wealthy people actually end up becoming wealthy even if their parents don't give them money. It's because the family, the government or the education or the media can't control what families put in their kids. So let's go into a few mindset things. Now, first off, getting into a growth mindset, a few things are essential. One, skills. Building skills that are monetizable as opposed to just using yourself for your, instead of your value to the world being judged on giving your, life energy, your brawn, whether that's physical labor or your time. You want to have skills that can create exponential impacts. And we're going to be learning a lot of skills during this course. You're going to be learning about copywriting. You're going to be learning about data analysis. You're going to be learning about effective research processes. Okay, so these are skills that you will build. They're not to implement the system. They're not essential, but building these skills will give you competitive edges. Okay, and I would say going a little bit deeper, again, at the end of the day, we're doing online sales. Okay, so for salespeople that come from biz dev or sales background, you're going to be able to, knowing copywriting and how to create better ads will be a very helpful skill. And if you're more of an engineer type persona, knowing the data analysis and optimization and the research stuff is going to be essential. Another thing is experience is essential. So building skills, I'll just put this here. Let me put this here. Skills, experience, continually getting experience. Skills are nothing without actually real world experience. So again, going through this course, you're going to want to implement as much as possible. Again, we're playing a game, and our game is ads and numbers. But the great part is those numbers end up in our bank accounts. So getting the experience of working with, working with ads, putting ads on Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, other native ad networks, whatever it is, whatever ad networks you're working with, and obviously I think Facebook is the best place. Do it. Do it. The experience and the skills combined are going to make you very powerful, and going to give you a business. So instead of selling in person or selling yourself for a salary, you're selling products online. And then all of these are kind of part of learning. So learning is obviously part of everything. I am continually learning. You have no idea how many books I read, how much, how really focused I get into subjects when I start to learn them. For instance, one thing I learned recently is just how to do an engaging webinar presentation. That was something I had to learn because when I was looking for students to work with me, I never knew how to do a webinar presentation. I've always been doing, just ads, pre-sale pages, and finding good affiliate offers, but understanding how to do a webinar presentation was something completely foreign to me. So that was a skill I had to learn, but I get very focused on this. Second thing is no shiny object syndrome. Let's put I'll put guys, this is one of the biggest problems with a lot of people's mindset. A lot of people who end up failing as an entrepreneur, they get so excited by all of the different possibilities of, I don't know if you've heard about them, Amazon e-commerce, Shopify drop shipping, cryptocurrency, network marketing, real estate, fix and flipping houses. There's a million different ways to make money, and all of them really sound good. And you know what the scary part is? All of them work too. All of them work. And it doesn't matter which one you do, because they all work. But what most people think of is, oh, you're missing out. You're missing out, and you have to jump around from thing to thing, or at least you have to keep your options open, right? At least you have to keep your options open, because if you have this business, then you're trying to do this business or whatever, it might, one of them has got to work. What you're doing is you're cutting yourself off at the feet generally, to making anything work. And where shiny object syndrome comes from, we call it SOS, is, me and fellow teachers, basically is shiny object syndrome is actually fear of failure. That's why people jump around. That's why people start lots of business, because they're scared of failing at one thing. And it's also a way to save face to yourselves. Think about this. Think about this, guys. It's a way of saving face to yourself. Because if one business you're working on fails, you still have this other one over there. And that sort of attitude will end up making everything you do fail, and will just create this series of starting and stopping businesses. At the end of the day, guys, all these businesses work. There are people making millions, even billions in all these businesses. There are people making billions as affiliate marketers. Look at Expedia.com, look at Travelocity, look at Priceline. There's all just affiliate arrangements. Cars.com, Hotels.com. You go deep and you can scale up as big as you want. Some of my students have become more successful than me because, even I get caught up in this. So, and as I said, some of my students are more successful than me now, which is really cool. Understand that success is a process. It's a process of continual action. Instead of jumping around, it's a process down a single path. And it takes time. For me to become extremely successful, it took Solid 5 years. I'd say it took 5 years, and some of those are ups and downs, and I've made a lot of money. My revenues have been great, but then I'd lose some, and then I'd make some. But what's important is that you're continually moving up. And for me, the reason I lost money was just because I was really stupid. I've always been good at making money, which is a nice thing. But if you look at success as a process and you're building skills and experience along the way, you're always going to be moving up. Also, don't be scared by confusion. Confusion is your friend. Excessive confusion is not good, but confusion is a sign of growth. Understand this, because what you're embarking on is creating a new business. And if you're working a 9-to-5 job right now, if you're working getting paid a wage or a salary, this is going to be very different for you. This is going to be it's a total shift, moving from employee to entrepreneur. And that can be very, very jarring and very confusing at first when you realize your income is based on results, not just you're not getting paid $50 or $20 an hour. So it's a little different, but you can also create exponential results. That's why we're here. You can make millions of dollars, and there's students of mine doing that. So the upside is huge. You can't do that as an employee. So understand that. And also look at this as a commitment. So say, be committed. It's got to be a commitment for you to make this work. It can't just be a hobby. If you treat business like a hobby, and I understand some of you are here to just learn. Some of you are here to have interesting content and understand. Maybe it's to apply some of these to your current business or whatever. But understand that it's a commitment, and you got to be committed to making it work. Again, that goes against shiny. No shiny object, yes, commitment. The next thing I wanted to speak to you about in regards to mindset is surrounding yourself with good people and good influences. When I was starting out in business, all the people I surrounded myself around were, I was like 20, 22. When I started, I was in college, so I was like 20 years old or 21, and all my friends were just, drinking at parties, smoking dope, trying to get laid, and here I am trying to make money. And inevitably you get dragged into all these things, oh, there's a Super Bowl party, oh, there's this party, oh, it's my birthday, oh, we're having a Game of Thrones, viewing show or party or whatever it is. And you get dragged, there's family there's so many obligations and things that you think, I can't miss it, or I owe this person one, and people do everything they can to guilt trip you. I hope this is making sense to you, but they try to pull you in to their reality. And if you're allowing other people to pull you in to their reality, you're not creating your own. So basically, surround yourself with the right influences that bring you towards what this reality you're trying to create is, rather than being subjugated to, all these other realities. The holiday party, the coworker events, happy hour, etc. Whatever other people are trying to drag you in. Surround yourself with your own influences. Curate your life, and it's going to help you immensely. What I did, and what I would suggest you do, it depends on how your style of learning is, but I read books voraciously. That's one of the ways I've surrounded myself with what I call good influences in my life. So I've surrounded myself with a lot of good books. Millionaire Fastlane is an amazing book. Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek, amazing book. Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. I've read all the marketing book, Cashvertising, Cashvertising by Eric Whitman, Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins, Ogilvy on advertising, and Breakthrough There's a million books, and I started surrounding myself with influences that are going to take me to where I want to be in life. Dan Kennedy, all these things, and they become, and you start creating your own reality, and slowly, it went from where I was surrounded by, people are just drinking, smoking, and West Coasting, to where now my, do you like that? That's a Dr. Dre line. But basically to where I am surrounded by, my core group of people I speak with now are marketers. And I've become a part of this society because I've curated my life around that. But it's got to be a conscious effort at first, because it's hard. But you do this and it happens. So podcasts are another thing. And again, replace the negatives with positives. Don't let people make you do things out of guilt. Okay, if people are making you do things out of guilt or obligation, those are bad. Generally, they're toxic. Okay, so start noticing those things as you're going along this journey with me. Just start noticing those things. Another thing I would encourage you to do is unsubscribe from as many, and we'll have an exercise, this will be a longer exercise, but basically one of the things, I suggest you do right after this part of the exercise or whatever is unsubscribe from as many email lists and as many other text lists or whatever you're on as you possibly can. Getting rid of influences that are going to take you away from your ultimate goal. If you have 15 people saying, maybe you don't have any, maybe you have a very good email list, but I know a number of my students have said they get 15 people a day sending them emails about new business ideas, and that stuff will pollute your mind. Everyone's fighting for attention. The difference is you've made a commitment. And to take that commitment seriously, you can't let all these different people that are fighting tooth and nail. There's a ton of other marketers, right? And they're all good. But honestly, if you're here, you've made that commitment. So unsubscribe, unfollow people on Facebook, unfollow people on Instagram. Don't let people compete for your attention and pull you other ways. You want to curate, again, this is part of curating your life. So at the end of this training, I'm going to ask you to get rid of as many, unfollow as many people, unsubscribe from as many email lists as you possibly can, to really start locking this down, so to help you be focused over this process. Okay. A little side note on me. I've curated my influences online a lot, but what's really interesting is as you become more successful, you get pulled, the opportunities that you can get pulled into socially, just the ante gets upped. I'm getting invited to speak at conferences around the world. I'm getting invited to speak in front of, hundreds of people at, some marketing conference in Florida. I'm getting invited to really high-end masterminds held at private resorts with other marketers. I get invited to all these crazy things every single month, or maybe even multiple times a month. I mean, and everyone is better. It's like, go to Cancun and speak, and we're going to pay for you to be there, and you're going to surround yourself with other multi-million dollar marketers. These are sexy invitations, right? And most people would say, oh, great, I should do it. But one thing I've done is, I've had to moderate that a lot. And, that's taken a lot of work, because the problem I get too is when I go to these conferences or these masterminds is I hear, even though these are some of the smartest people, again, they're just people. And I start hearing, I start hearing all these ideas, and I say, I should really do that in my business. Or, oh, that's an interesting collaboration opportunity. And some of them take me away from what my core business is. My core business is paid advertising and affiliate marketing. And when you're surrounded by very successful people, it just, it gets sexier to get pulled away in different directions. And I don't even go to some conferences anymore because I don't want those ideas, because I know what I need to be doing. I know I need to get even better. I know the way to grow my business from, 7 figures to 8 figures is not, trying out all these new ideas. I know in many cases it's just sticking to paid advertising and affiliate marketing. That's all I need to do to grow my business to 8 figures. And I need to stay focused on that instead of getting too many ideas. So there's a give and take there. Again, you want some of these influences, but again, you don't want too many that are taking you totally off. And if you're here, it's paid advertising, affiliate marketing, or whatever product you're selling. I know some people come into this and they have their own businesses already. So, if you're not using affiliate marketing, is what I've always used, and it's the easiest way to make money. Another thing is be at the top of the food chain. This is a cool concept that my buddy Ronnie Sandlin talks a lot about. Love that guy. Google him. He's one of my success stories, and he's gone on and he's started teaching stuff on his own as well. But top of the food chain, I'd say produce versus consume. When you're going about things, think about whether you are producing content or advertising or consuming it. And again, I put out, I could actually look at people have watched of my ads, I've shown, I don't know, millions of ads, the last few days. I don't know the exact number, but it's somewhere on the computer. I won't muck around. But people have spent probably hundreds of thousands of hours engaging with my ads, my landing page, my pre-sale my ads and my pre-sale pages over the last, couple days. So people are consuming the content I put out there. So I'm producing content and other people are consuming it. And generally think, right now, obviously you're watching this, you're learning, and you're part of the group, but generally in life, think about, am I being sold here or am I creating? Am I the one creating the ads or am I the one subject to them? So you want to flip it so that you are top of the food chain. Don't be, a good example is, don't be the car salesman, be the car dealership. Don't be the consumer, be the person marketing the product people are buying. Just how can you be on the next level? Always think of that, because the taxi driver, the taxi drivers that work for Uber, they're not making a lot of money. The guy who owns Uber is making a lot of money. So think about how can you be the top of the food chain. And the top of the food chain, it's production. You're putting stuff out to the world. How can you be more putting stuff out to the world rather than being the one, taking the stuff in, or however that makes sense. I hope this is making sense. Leverage. Leverage is a huge word. And it has an E. Leverage is what we're doing, and this is why this business model works so well. And that's why I encourage a lot of people, don't get away from affiliate marketing, because it's such, you have so much leverage when you are an affiliate. You can sell infinite number of products, and it doesn't, it won't affect how much you actually, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to put more time into it. You don't have to worry about more inventory. You don't have to worry about more whatever, because you're just connecting parties, right? Expedia.com has massive leverage. Once they set it up, where, this, everybody knows it. I don't know if you know Expedia, but let's just say hotels.com. People book hotels through it. They have affiliate agreements with the major hotel companies. Now, once they set the site up, they could be making no money. They spent, a bunch of money setting a site up, and it's just sitting there. But the upside potential of people just logging on to hotels.com and finding a hotel to book is massive. They can make billions of dollars. They can make hundreds of millions of dollars connecting people with hotels, and it doesn't cost them any more time, right? It's just more server. It just takes more server power, from their website. So understand, as you're going through this, you have leverage here. With paid advertising, you have leverage. When I scale my campaigns, when I create a couple new ads, and maybe one of them works, and I just, literally how I go from $1,000 a day profit to $10,000 a day is just a click of a mouse button. That's it. That's literally it. So I have massive leverage in what I do, and in what you're learning. You have massive leverage. You're learning the exact same stuff. So understand that and take that seriously, and don't get away from that. If you want to earn a big income, if you want to earn a 7-figure income, you need to use leverage. I don't have a single employee working for me. Okay, I don't have a single. I have a startup on the side, but in my affiliate marketing business, I don't have a single person working for me, and that's part of the reason why I want to work with you guys to help grow my affiliate marketing business. But again, that's why I'm teaching and passing a lot of this information down, is because I want to enable you guys to help grow it, and even be able to eventually take myself out of the equation completely. So that's leverage. That's leverage. In all the 7-figure businesses I've done, I've never needed to hire people. It's just, it's crazy. One of the next things I would say is asking good questions is a very important, or just knowing how to ask questions is a pretty important part of having a good mindset. You want to Google, as you're going through this training course, you're going to want to Google things you don't know. If you hear a term you don't know, if you hear an acronym you don't know, Google it, please. Because some of the stuff I go over, one of the benefits of working with me is I'm not a professional teacher. I don't do this all the time. This is not, my intention with everything is to make you successful. Okay, it's to make you successful so I can grow my affiliate marketing business, and I can help you guys grow it as well. So, all of the incentives are aligned. Now, as I said, not being a teacher, you're getting some of the best, I'm sometimes maybe even a little advanced, so because the stuff I'm doing is working, it's new, it's always, it's happening. So some of the things I say, I might brush over some things. If you hear an acronym you don't know, CPA, cost per action, PPC, pay-per-click or pay-per-call, etc. Google it, check it out, because as you're moving into this industry, you might hear terms you don't know. That's fine. Again, confusion is good. You're getting into things and you're learning from the best here, which is really good. On the weekly webinars, or I call them campaign analyses now. On the weekly campaign analyses or webinars or Q&A sessions, whatever you want to call them, make sure that you're make sure that you're not asking leading questions. Leading questions are saying, hey, would you like some ice cream? You know, or saying, you know, isn't it, you know, that's a leading question. Because of course, you know, the answer is yes to that. So don't ask questions where you already think you know the answer, okay? I have students all the time saying, well, isn't Google saturated? You know, isn't Google a saturated place to advertise? If you ask a question like that, it means you already think you know the answer. It means you think Google is saturated. It's not a good place to. And if you believe that, then don't ask the question, because what you're doing is you're just looking for people to reinforce your own worldview. You're not actually looking to learn. So be open. Having an open mindset is really key in all of this. And I'm also going to put a link to, and if I forget when I put the video up, remind me in the comments, but I'm going to put a link to the most powerful video or audio series I've ever gotten, which is by this guy named Kevin Trudeau, who's a 9-figure marketer. He's crazy. And he's got a really good audio series on, you know, how to have the right growth mindset. Another thing about questions is when you're asking questions in the webinar, I don't want too much context. Don't give me a story. Again, I do my best to work with every one of your questions, but if you give me a 5-minute story, you're going to make the other people, my other students, it's just not helpful. Give your question quick. Don't give me all the background information and all the reasons why. Generally, I've heard it before. Few other things. 1, create a focused place to work. Create your space. Create your workspace. To take this seriously, you want to have a place and a time that you work. I don't know if you're spending, let's say, 30 minutes or an hour a day, or if you're just pounding all the training and all the workout on the weekends or on certain days after work, whatever that is, have your space, have your workspace set aside so that you don't have a million distractions. This thing is the biggest distraction of it all. Silent. You see my phone, I always keep it on silent. It doesn't even ring. It doesn't ring, it doesn't buzz, it doesn't beep, it doesn't bloop. I don't get interrupted. My wife hates it, honestly. She's always like, you're so unavailable and like, I need you and blah, 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 blah sometimes. But I don't know. You can deal with, if you have a wife or husband, you deal with it your way. But don't let those things interrupt you. Define when you work, because focus is a really key part of what we're doing. When you're working on computers, you need to have that space to create that continuum, because again, we're working with a couple different things here. We're working with the ad, working with the pre-sale page, we're working with the offer, and we need them all to be congruent and link up to create that massive money machine that's going to afford whatever lifestyle it is you want to create. So have your space set aside. What I do, that's why I have an office. I walk to work, so that my office is not very far away from where I live, but I have an office because that gives me my zone. I have my 3 monitors that kind of close me off from the world. I have my zone. Now I'm going to give you the hardest thing to kind of understand, and I kind of saved the best piece of advice and sort of mindset for last, is this. Everything is your fault. So it's funny. In marketing, this is another little secret of marketers. In marketing, whether I'm marketing weight loss pills, whether I'm marketing biz ops, whether I'm marketing skincare, I always say, look, your wrinkles, or your extra weight, or your lack of success in marketing, you generally tell people, look, all those bad things, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Society forces us to be this way. And again, I could say that sort of honestly here, like, look, the media and the education system have brainwashed us since birth. And it's systemic, it's industrialized, and they've been brainwashing it since birth. So on one hand, I can say that very honestly. It's not your fault in many cases. You're not as successful as you want to be. But at the same time, to be in the mindset of success, to truly be successful, we have to change that. Everything is your fault. It's not the business, it's not the system, it's not Facebook is saturated, or AdWords is saturated, or native ads are saturated, or affiliate marketing products, or the product is low converting or high converting. None of those things can be blamed. It can't be your affiliate manager gave you a bad recommendation, or people, it's the wrong time of season. You have to treat everything as your fault. Ultimately, your success, to be successful, you have to treat that. If you're not successful, it's your fault and nobody else's. So taking things personally and understanding this and really taking this to heart, and you've already taken that step by committing to this training. You've said, okay, there's things I can learn and I can improve upon to get to this point of success using leverage, using business model, using paid advertising and affiliate marketing, and scaling up. But you've got to treat this stuff like it's your fault, and you've got to just be responsible for yourself. You see this a lot I went to school for a few years in Texas, and in Texas they have this really kind of I call it like a frontier mentality. Is you're responsible for yourself. You don't blame if you get hurt, if something bad happens. In Texas, people don't go and complain to the government, or they don't complain as much about things that they can't change. They just, it's okay, it happened, let's move on. I'm not going to go into politics, but there's some segments of society that are constantly blaming outside forces for their lack of success, or for their lack of whatever it is, and saying, oh, tax the rich people, those greedy people. They're responsible for my lack of success. Nobody's responsible for your lack of success, or for your whatever other habits you have other than yourself. And you really take that to heart. You really start to embody that, and you stop, and you can just notice yourself. If you start building that sixth sense, third eye of like, oh, I'm complaining about something outside of my control, and you just kind of like, oh, I'm going to be quiet here. This is how you become a truly successful entrepreneur. So guys, awesome stuff. Lots of stuff we just went over here. That's basically the mindset stuff. I should be doing some more trainings on this, but this is essentially all you need to know to get in the right mindset to be an entrepreneur. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.